Vice President Kamala Harris said that Donald Trump was going to send the army after you. And the Hill newspaper said, oh my God, she's lying. Well, guess what happened? Donald Trump's sending 700 Marines to California after ICE. Well, we think it's ICE. Individuals proclaimed to be ICE, wearing masks, not showing any IDs, started the violence over the weekend that's led to massive protests there. Now, Trump, J.D. Vance, Republicans, they want to make the claim that, oh my God, L.A. is going up in flames, when that is not the case. It is not the case. The mayor has said so. The governor has said so. The Los Angeles Police Department has said so. But this is what Donald Trump wants to do. He desperately wants to use the military to quell unrest, or what he perceives to be unrest in this country. His immigration policy. It started, they literally went to a school graduation, elementary school graduation, caused parents to flee, leaving kids stranded there. That's what we're seeing happening, how ICE is operating. They even arrested the head of the SEIU union there in California. Let's talk about what's going on there with our guest, Rudy deLeon, a senior fellow, National Security International Policy Center for the Center for American Progress. Also, we have California State Assemblyman Mike Gipson with us as well. So glad to have both of you here. Mike, I want to start with you. Just give us a sense of the madness happening there. You have the LAPD that said peaceful protest. You had the mayor say that. So the people in Los Angeles are saying one thing. Donald Trump and his MAGA folks are saying totally something different.
That's right. First of all, thank you very much, Roland. Exactly. The president has sent in the National Guards, and yet today, in 24 hours, we'll have 700 Marines coming into Los Angeles to try to keep the peace, according to what the president is trying to say. We have had peaceful protests taking place. We've had young people, put some things on fire. But by and large, and I want to say by and large, it has been peaceful protests taking place. I want to underscore what has taken place. When the National Guards, under the direction of President Donald Trump, have sent those National Guards here, it further inflamed what is taking place around the national, around peaceful protesting taking place. When ICE, or those masquerading as ICE agents, going into graduations, going to elementary schools, going and pulling kids out of school. We had a elementary school student in Torrance, at Torrance Elementary School, being uprooted at the elementary school and being deported now in Texas, and God knows where this child is. We had one of our labor leaders, David Wartha, who went to a demonstration, who was singled out, who was abused at a detention center, and he himself was detained, abused, sent to a hospital, was refused any kind of medical attention. The mayor was called. The mayor sent medical attention there, and he was transported to the hospital and then detained and placed in a detention center and was isolated, and no one was able to see him. And today we had a demonstration, and today he was actually released on bail. But that was thousands of people rallying in support. This has been further exacerbated by the Trump administration by bringing in these militarized units, coming in with AK-47, with assault weapons, with tanks, with military kinds of weapons, and terrorizing our communities. And our communities are paralyzed, but also enraged. It's walking down the street. We had one man testify, said he was walking down the street with his girlfriend, and they jumped out of the car. He was holding to his girlfriend. She pulled out her phone, started videotaping. They threw him to the ground and just grabbed her and threw her in the car and arrested her and drove off. And he don't know where this girl is at. And she's a United States citizen. She was born and raised here as a college student. And this is what's happening in the streets of Los Angeles. And people are damn mad. I am mad at what's going on right now. So he is furthering flaming hysteria and just outrage what's going on here in Los Angeles. And so to bring in the National Guard, to bring in 700 Marines, he's causing a war right here, and he's attacking Americans to further, Project 2025 in this country.
I'm looking at this tweet right here. It said ICE raid Los Angeles elementary schools to make welfare check on first graders. Principal blocked entry. Disguised federal agents told school staff they had parents' permission to take kids out of class. That was an outright lie. They quickly hid their IDs when asked for details, arrived in unmarked cars and wore casual clothing, leading to confusion about who they actually were. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed that the agents worked for them, but they claimed they were not technically ICE agents. However, the federal agents said they were at the school to make a welfare check on students they claimed were, quote, unaccompanied minors who crossed the border. The parents and legal guardians deny any interaction with these entities and certainly deny providing authorization for these individuals to have any contact with these children at the school. I mean, this is what's crazy. These people are doing whatever the hell they want to do. We don't know who they are. They're not showing IDs. They're hiding their masks. We don't know if they're Proud Boys. We don't know if they are the Patriots group, white supremacists. We literally do not know. And Donald Trump's folks act like we don't give a damn. We don't have to tell you.
And that's just right. We're not going to release our children to complete strangers. They could be pedophiles. Who, for all we know, we're not going to allow anyone to come up to our schools and grab our kids just to say that they're doing a welfare check. So we've been educating not only our principals, but our teachers, but our communities to know their rights. Not to, if someone knock on their door, no, we want to see papers. We want to see a signed order by some kind of judge. We are educating our community to making sure that they know their rights, and to have these individuals go after children, minors, and trying to gain entry into their homes or to elementary schools. How dare you, Donald Trump, and also ICE agents have a conscience. So, these are the kinds of tactics they're doing to our communities. Yes, our community is scared. And so we're calling on everyone to, one, know your rights, to making sure that we, black and brown, stand together, because we know that we're powerful when we stand together against these kinds of attacks against our communities. And so our mayor, to even just yesterday, to have one of Donald Trump's appointees to say that any elected official stands in our way, we will arrest not only the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, and the governor. How dare you threaten the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, who was a former member of Congress, but also our governor of the state of California? I mean, you are stooping to these kinds of low kind of tactics. I mean, damn politics. This is the leader of our state, the leader of the mayor of the city of Los Angeles. You threaten that you're going to throw them in jail? How dare you? These are our leaders. These are what we're elected to lead the state and the city of Los Angeles, and you're going to threaten them? All that's going to continue to do is anger, Californians. And that's what they're doing. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, under the law, the members of Congress have a right to go on, look at detention centers and making sure those who are being detained have the right to do welfare checks. And they were denied entry into those facilities. Jimmy Gomez, Congresswoman Torres, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and the whole entire LA delegation was denied entry. By law, they have a right to. That is, again, a slap in that delegation's face. And I hope that they will go to Congress today and tomorrow and raise hell.
I'm bringing Rudy right now. Rudy, first of all, you're seeing something. Donald Trump is not targeting red states. He's purposely doing this in blue states. He wants to provoke action. This is what he wants. This is exactly what he wants to accomplish.
So thanks, Roland, for the invitation to be on your show. You're right. Today, the use of military units into a domestic environment, that should always be the tool of last resort. But deploying the National Guard to Los Angeles right now just seems to want to inflame the situation that started with the ICE agents last week and it could lead to an increase, not a decrease, in the tensions and the violence. It's actually unheard of for units like the National Guard in California and now the Marines to be deployed without the request of the governor or the mayor. That's the standard practice. And so, by every measure, the LA police, the sheriff's office, the surrounding municipalities, they should be in charge of dealing with their own citizens. LA is a complicated place. It has a lot of history, some good, some not good. But I think in this particular case, the law enforcement are the face to the community and for the community. And to bring in Marines who are very capable, but not trained for this mission. They're trained to deal with, guerrilla insurrections or other complicated missions overseas. So we put them in an impossible situation when we ask them to come into one of our big cities, particularly the Marines that are coming from 29 Palms, because that's a training center where you train the Marines for military combat, not for law enforcement. Police officers are trained to diffuse situations, not to escalate them. Now, to the Assemblyman's key point, I know a little about Torrance, California, because long before I worked in the Pentagon for President Clinton, I actually was raised in Torrance, California. So I know the people, I know the community. It's Hispanic, it's Asian, it's Caucasian, and everybody gets along with each other. So I think we're walking into uncharted territories. This is a time where the White House this afternoon has put up all of the fencing for the big parade that's to occur at the end of the week. It's not lost on me that the men that were driving the forklifts and putting up the security fencing were mostly speaking Spanish with each other. That's a strength of our diversity back with each other. And so sometimes you put the accelerator on. Right now is a time to brake, and that's let the mayor and the governor be the face of the response. And then everybody should take a step back and remember that our Bill of Rights was written because there were checks. We did not want a King of England in the United States. And when you look at those 10 amendments to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights that we now take for granted, that was exactly what was intended to countercheck. So it really is a sad day to see our troops being deployed in this way.
Well, I think one of the things that we need to recognize here, again, when you talk about what a person's intent is, Donald Trump was not lying when he said he wanted to be a dictator. He wanted to be a strong man. He's praised other autocrats, other dictators as well. And what I hope with his actions, and MAGA, look, they're gone, but I would hope the 90 million Americans that did not vote, I would hope independents, I would hope these people are waking up and rising up and recognizing that these people do not give a damn about the Constitution. They do not care about checks and balances. They want to do whatever they want, and there's only one party that is going to stand up to them, and that is the Democratic Party. Donald Trump's party, the Republican Party, they are not going to do anything to put this man in check. They simply are scared to death. They are scared to criticize him. Senator Lisa Murkowski talked about death threats that Republicans get. So it's real simple. They're not going to do anything. And this is where the people have to rise up and, yes, take to the streets to say, no, this is not what we are going to tolerate in this country. I want to go to Rudy first. I'm going to go to Rudy first on that. I'm going to go to Rudy first, and then I'm going to go to Mike.
Now, the president should be the first person to try to diffuse the current situation and not to escalate it. And so that's the environment that we need to step into right now. You know, it's the irony of the announcement of the Marines moving was made at 4 p.m. here in Washington so it could lead the national news tonight. We really do need to change the storyline on not how do we escalate this, but how do we turn it over to the local community, to their leaders, and let them solve this.
Well, again, Mike, I don't have an issue with the local leaders solving this. But what I am saying is this is not going to end just right here. Donald Trump wants to instigate a fight. And the people need to understand they cannot sit on the sideline watching this thug do what he is doing.
I absolutely agree with you. And right now, Congresswoman Maxine Waters said at an event that everybody needs to get in this fight. It's not just Latinos, African Americans. We call on all those whose names have been written down, who's still alive, those who fought alongside Martin Luther King and John Lewis and others in the 60s and 70s. We call upon them right now to stand with us, even with the young people who's trying to gain their legs, to get involved in this fight, because we need everyone who is able-bodied to be part of this fight, to be part of this narrative. We call upon those because it's going to mean that all of us in this fight together, in order for us to making sure that we are able to flip the houses in next year, that we can gain and kind of redo reverse what Donald Trump has been done with these executive orders, and making sure the Supreme Court, most of all, the Supreme Court holds the line to making sure that they stand up against Donald Trump, because I know that the governor of the state of California and also our Attorney General Rob Bonta is filing lawsuits against this administration this week for what they're doing by bringing in the National Guards. This is our domain, and it's not the president's domain. This is setting precedents, and we need to make sure that we push back in a large way. The state of California, the legislature has given the Attorney General $25 million to want to make sure that he is armed with the resources that we need in order to fight against and file lawsuits against this administration like we did when he was president the first time. And we're going to stand toe-to-toe with him. And again, he's picking these fights, and we're going to make sure that we stand toe-to-toe with him. We're not going to cow down. And again, California is a donor state. We give $80 billion as a donor state. And I'm asking, because of all the cuts and all the federal resources that he's cutting away from California, diverting these monies, clawing monies back, that we don't give these monies to the federal government at all, especially what he's doing to us. We should not be giving these monies to the federal government at all. He is pissing on California. He's picking a fight with California, and I think there's going to be a fight that we'll give him one back. But one, with all of the ammunition he's coming and the artillery he's coming in with to California to wage war. This is a political war that he's using the military against California to try to prove some kind of point. This is wrong because he's hurting Americans. He's hurting Californians, and this should not be done, because if Barack Obama had done this, if Joe Biden had done this, it would be outpours all over the world, the country. But because he's doing this with Elon Musk and others, we should stand up against all of them and call it what it is.
Oh, well, we had Congresswoman Maxine Waters on the show last week, and she said she absolutely called for nonviolent resistance to what is going on. And it must be constant pressure. The concern, Rudy, though, is that Donald Trump is so unstable, so unhinged, that people are afraid that he is going to sick law enforcement on folks if they do protest. But frankly, fear cannot be the overriding issue here. This is where I think we'll be assisted by many of our elders. And I really hope that what is happening in California awakens people, because we are seeing this all over. Later in this, when I talk to my panel, we're going to talk about a Chilean woman who was in New York on vacation with her child, who cops just arrested her, left her 12-year-old daughter there, and then held the woman for 8 hours. The woman was on vacation. These people are simply unhinged. Rudy?
You are, you are exactly right. Everybody needs to come and vote, and we need to change the climate. California is one of the great states, and the notion that a president would, you know, disgrace it like we have going on right now just can't stand.
But
Rudy deLeon, I
want to say,
appreciate you.
I
Yes,
also
Mike,
want
go
to
ahead.
say this: if those 90 million people, if all what has happened right now doesn't awaken those 90 million people who stayed at home, I'm not sure what will. If they're not convinced that this administration should not be in the White House, should not be in power, I'm not sure what will. If they have not seen what's have going on TV and all across this country, just look at what's going on in California, I'm not sure what will be enough to convince them. If they have not seen enough bloodshed, all across this country, just look at California as an example. I'm not sure what will.
Right.
It's too much at stake for anyone to stay at home in this next upcoming election next year, that we cannot afford to, one, have another 2 more years to allow this man to stay in power. Enough is enough. And we're calling on everybody to do everything we can in a peaceful manner to making sure that we can regain our democracy back, to control America and move it back to where it once was, a sensible country. But this is not the America that we know.
Well, Mike,
Well
here's the
said,
point
Mike.
that I consistently make. This is the point that I consistently make on this show. The election 2026 is in November. The reality is we cannot wait until the election in November 2026. People must be making their voices now, I believe, through non-violent protesting, which is important because there are also state elections. There are things that needs to be happening. But in order for us to get folks there, we have to be inform them, enlighten them, educate them on what the issues are. And I'll be honest, there were a lot of people who said, yeah, he's not going to go that far. I don't think he's going to do that. I've heard this numerous places. Now they are seeing everything Hillary Clinton said, everything Vice President Kamala Harris said, everything that we said about President 2025. All these things are real. And if they've already shown you 4 and 5 and 10 and 20 and 30 times, it's going to be more. And so people need to understand they are serious about what they're doing. They're executing the agenda. And only the American people, if they stand up and rise up, can they stop them. But if people remain silent and quiet and meek and weak, then they will be emboldened.